Truth is, I am Iron Man.
I solemnly swear that I am up to no good.
What is going on? What are you doing?
To infinity and beyond!
This is the way.
The flux capacitor.
Is Star Wars the one with the little wizard boy?
Chewie, we're home.
Avengers!
Assemble.
Ah, chills. Literal chills.
Hello, fellow fans, to United We Fan, the podcast. I'm Mark, and united with me is my co-host, the glowing Brian. What up, Brian?
Hey, everyone.
On the last episode, Brian and I discussed Zack Snyder's Justice League. Brian, has it grown on you anymore, or is it still where it was when we talked about it?
Do you think I've watched it again since then?
On this week's episode, Brian and I will be discussing the 2019 Best Animated Picture winner, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. But first, thank you all for uniting with us as we talk about all things fandom. Please give us a rate or review wherever you listen so we can unite with more fans out there. UWF is partnered up with the This Diz Life podcast family. Lots of wonderful podcasts and live shows with them. One of those special shows on there has a bunch of weirdos on there. Brian, you're pretty weird. You know something about it, right?
Absolutely. So Earth's Mightiest Weirdos is wherever you find your podcast, as well as on This Diz Life podcast YouTube channel every Monday night, discussing the newest and latest in the Marvel world, the MCU world. So right now we're doing weekly reviews of The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Between Falcon and Winter Soldier and Loki, we'll be doing some other stuff. When we had a week off in between WandaVision and Falcon and Winter Soldier, we did a bracket of MCU films. That was a lot of fun. So we're going to do stuff like that. And Loki starts June 11th, so we'll be getting into that pretty quickly as well, with Black Widow just a month behind that. So a lot coming in Earth's Mightiest Weirdos for sure.
Things got really heated during that bracket.
It really did. I guess I should have expected it, but
yeah, in a fun way. And, we had fun audience participation too. So definitely tune in. It's not just for those Marvel snobs. It's not for the, it's not a dummies guide to Marvel. It's for everyone. So we have all different levels of expertise. You have Brian, who's the mega mind of the group, but then you have like lovable friends like Ethan and I who are just happy to be there, and we do the best we can to chime in with different perspective and thoughts. And of course, I can't forget Mark, but he's in timeout still for his Fat Thor comment.
A lot of the same group as well. I know, Mark, you're not going to be on it near as frequently as me, but we are starting on May the 4th. Babu's Frickin' Podcast.
Hello, I Babu Freak.
And that is going to be a Star Wars show, in the similar vein of Earth's Mightiest Weirdos, discussing all things Star Wars. May the 4th is the beginning of the Bad Batch, so that's kind of where we're going to start, but just having a lot of Star Wars conversations as well, so keep your eyes out. You can subscribe to Babu's Frickin' Podcast anywhere you find your podcast now as well.
I'll definitely be there to see how little knowledge I'm surprised to find out I have of the Star Wars galaxy, but that's okay because it's fun. That's what makes it great. I'll also be there to remind people that the Last Jedi is not underrated and underappreciated, and that Rise of Skywalker is extremely unbalanced. But I'll be there as many times as Brian and the gang want to beam me up to it. Yep.
I don't know why it always comes back to The Last Jedi. It always comes back. But you're right about the Rise of Skywalker. It is very unbalanced. A lot of problems with that film.
The Schwartz just wasn't strong with it. And I'm still waiting for my Jar Jar Binks Disney Plus series. Anyways, in Mark and Bryan's World News, Space Jam.
Everybody get up, it's time to slam now. We got the real jam going down. Welcome to the Space Jam. Here's your chance, do your dance at the Space Jam. All right.
Space Jam, we got the preview for it, the LeBron James take on it, and good lord, were there a whole lot of cameos in the background there. I felt like I was watching Ready Player 2.
Yeah, yeah. The whole thing feels like it's an HBO Max commercial. A lot of it, like it reminds me of that Walmart Super Bowl commercial that we got a couple years ago when you had all like the Mystery Machine and the Millennium Falcon and just all
Yeah.
the cars coming to pick up their groceries. What a great commercial that was. Somebody watched that and said, "Hey, let's make a 90-minute movie out of this starring LeBron James." Like that's what it feels like. So it's going to be a fun Easter egg hunt many times over to see what you can find, or just go on the internet and everybody will show you everything everywhere. But I mean, I'm going to watch Space Jam 2. I don't expect it to be anything. Oh, I'm sorry. Space Jam: A New Legacy.
There you go.
I mean, I caught it right away when we did the Lola Bunny Dwayne Wade thing with her arms spread out. Like all that was kind of cool as a sports fan. I mean, I'm not a LeBron James fan by any stretch, but I don't know. Like I will absolutely watch it. My kids are obsessed with the Looney Tunes now, so getting them into Space Jam has been very easy. But thanks to HBO Max for that one. They're going back and watching all the Looney Tunes. That's been fun.
I had the Bugs Bunny jersey and I had the Tasmanian Devil Toon Squad jerseys. Did you get any of those?
I didn't have Bugs or Taz. I have the shorts. I have the full get up for Bill
Ooh.
Murray.
Whoa, whoa, whoa! I didn't know Dan Aykroyd was in this picture.
So
Yes.
that's my Halloween costume. It was purchased
Friends,
like 5 years ago. So
maybe when we do a Space Jam episode, we can get a picture of Brian in full get up. Who knows? Maybe we'll be spicy and make that our episode poster.
ooh, all right. Yeah, I mean, I've got the short. I've got the whole thing. I've got the red undershirt, black hat that I can wear backwards, and I'll just walk around all day saying, "Larry's not white. Larry's clear."
And then I'll be like, wait a minute, I know Dan Aykroyd was in this movie. Space Jam, it looks like a lot of fun. You know, is Don Cheadle like Agent Smith of the Warner Media Group? I don't really know what's happening there. So the storyline, I think they definitely were like, hey, let's blow them away with visuals and LeBron James, and just hope they don't like look too deep into this just yet. But
I think it was the presence of the Iron Giant, which is what made everybody say Ready Player 2. Like, I think without the Iron Giant, it wouldn't have gotten those comparisons. So that was an interesting inclusion.
I thought of it anyways when I saw all the characters in the background. I still love that they couldn't have Pepe Le Pew, but they still had the gang members from A Clockwork Orange in the movie. And I'm like, did nobody read that book or watch that movie? So it's interesting what characters will actually survive the background when the movie's released. But Space Jam, I just need you to have a great album like the first one did.
It's going to be tough, but Ryan Coogler's an executive producer, and
so
he nailed the soundtrack for Black Panther and Creed and everything else he's done. So
I definitely bought Space Jam, and I know we're getting on a Space Jam rant. I don't care. I definitely bought Space Jam album on cassette, and it was one of the first CDs I ever bought.
I think it was literally the first CD I ever bought. Yeah, for sure. I remember that. I still remember that orange CD.
I have to look if what came out first. It was either Godzilla, the Matthew Broderick Godzilla. I bought the album.
The Hank Azaria one.
Yeah, okay. The music to that's pretty good. For anyone out there, if you can check it out, it's got some pretty good tunes on it. Puff Daddy's on there. The Wallflowers are on there.
That was back when he was still Puff Daddy. That's how long ago that was.
Oh man, gosh, yeah, he did a cover of Kashmir, but he did his own version of it, just like the Wallflowers did a cover of "We Can Be Heroes" from David Bowie. Yeah, one of those two. I gotta look that up. We'll fact check that. But moving on, there's other Mark and Bryan's World news. Disneyland reopening very soon, and it's gotten bigger and better. And I know as soon as I can get out there, I can't wait to assemble Avengers Campus. It looks beautiful.
Oh man, I cannot wait. Avengers Campus. So Disneyland opens April 30th from their COVID closure. So just like Disney World in Florida, you need park reservations to go. But in addition to that, you need to be a California resident for a while. So don't go booking flights and everything just yet.
Yeah.
But Avengers Campus opens June 4th. It's going to open up with the Web Slingers Spider-Man Adventure, Guardians of the Galaxy Mission Breakout, which has been there for a while, But then there's also the Ancient Sanctum, which is going to be explore the ruins of the mysterious Ancient Sanctum and encounter the master of the mystic arts, Doctor Strange. So it's just going to be a really cool magic show, for lack of a better term. That's going to be awesome. The Pym Test Kitchen's going to be there. Like it's going to be so cool.
Somebody asked me what was I most excited for, and like the foodie in me, is excited to try the different food. But and don't get me wrong, the Spider-Man ride sounds like epic. Like I'm all about a Spider-Man ride. That's my favorite ride at Universal, and it's one of my top 3 favorite theme park rides. So I'm all for a Spider-Man ride. But I think the merchandise, just looking at it online, like I was never one who wanted to buy the Build-A-Droid. I will admit, seeing people do it, it looked like a lot of fun, but I just didn't know what I would do with it. But those spider bots, like their version of them, where you build the spider droids, and they even have backpacks for them. I think they got me. And I know you can customize them to look like your favorite Avenger. And then, of course, they have exclusive Funkos of Spider-Man and Iron Man for that area. Me being me, I'll probably buy both, even though I honestly just want the Spider-Man one. And then they're going to get a ride. When is it? Next year? Another one?
Phase 2, yeah. So it was supposed to be a year after it opened. So I don't think through COVID they were able to complete the Avengers attraction. It's not opening with the park. I don't know how far away that one is from opening. But yeah, there's an Avengers attraction that has a Quinjet on top of it, and it looks amazing.
Mission Breakout. I haven't been to Disneyland yet. I've been embarrassed to say that out loud so many times with our Disney friends, but yeah, I haven't been to Disneyland yet. Mission Breakout. We've gone over this. I hate drop rides. If you ever see a rare picture of me on Tower of Terror, or if you could see me on Doom's Free Fall, it looks like I'm praying or questioning decisions in my life when I'm on that. So Mission Breakout, I will find the courage to go on it.
Just got to do it once, man. Just got to do it once.
Wow, you sound like Dad right now. Your dad's hat on.
That's my normal life.
Dave Bautista would like to ride with me and hold my hand on it, I won't say no to that. I don't know why his name was the first name that popped in my head. But,
I was gonna ask, but I just figured we'd move on.
I think it's more so I would feel bad crushing any other's hand on that ride possibly, and I feel like Dave Bautista could not only take it.
Do it, Quill. I can take it.
No, he can't take it.
She's right, you can't.
He will give me a good reassurance grip. So, anyways. And then let's stick with Marvel. Falcon and the Winter Soldier. At the premiere of this episode, we're on episode 5, and then 2 days after we premiere this episode, we will get the season finale. Will it be the series finale? Who knows? We don't know yet. Anything can go. But the season finale for Falcon and Winter Soldier, and I'm loving it, to quote McDonald's.
I don't know if I'm. Don't get me wrong. I absolutely love this show, but the level of anticipation isn't matching WandaVision for me, and that's my fault. That has nothing to do with the show. It's gone in a direction that I sort of expected, and then again, not very much. If you want to hear us talk spoilers, tune into Earth's Mightiest Weirdos, again, wherever you find your podcasts, or on YouTube on Monday nights. But there's a lot of things that have happened over the last episode or 2 that I was not expecting. I'm still a little bit underwhelmed by the Sharon Carter storyline. I'm wondering what they have planned for that.
Yeah.
But that's just where I'm going to leave it. But the existence of former superheroes from the Korean War era, I'm curious where they're going with that, and that's what I'm gonna leave it at. But it's a great show. We got 1 episode left. I hope it's the season finale, because the series finale I need more of Sam Wilson in my life, and I don't know where it's coming from if we don't get a season 2.
WandaVision, I think all of the theories kind of brought that show down for me, and then trying to rush to watch it before those horrible fans out there spoiled it kind of also ruined me getting fully into it. And then with Falcon and Winter Soldier, I went on technology blackout just so I could watch it after work and not have it ruined. And I think that definitely helped me enjoy it more. And then Sebastian Stan is delivering like top-notch performance in it. Anthony Mackie does a great job. Like as the show goes on, his performance is stronger. But the character of Isaiah, I think he's the only one who has a shot at some acting award recognition, and rightfully so. But yeah, Falcon and Winter Soldier, check it out. Definitely check us out on Earth's Mightiest Weirdos, especially if you want to fire back. Yeah, I think you're wrong. I think the show's amazing. If you think that show's not great,
You get no arguments from me.
I know. Tune in, Earth's Mightiest Weirdos. Like I said, it's great for all expertise and for all viewpoints. We're not going to make you feel like an awful person. If you're not a fan of it, I will try my best to hide my disappointed head shake. But you know, it pops out sometimes. Can't help it. Speaking of other heroes, Amazon. Brian, you know what? I'm going to let you introduce this because I actually forgot about it, and then you reminded me about it. What does Amazon have going on right now?
So there's a show on Amazon, not The Boys. If you've watched The Boys, this is on the same level of The Boys. I actually like it better than The Boys by quite a bit for me. But when it comes to rating and gore and stuff like that, it is on the level of The Boys. So you've been warned there, but there's a show on Amazon called Invincible. And it's a comic book series that I'm not familiar with at all. It is not Marvel or DC. I actually don't know the comic company that makes Invincible, but this show is amazing. The voice cast is unreal. You've got John Hamm, Seth Rogen, J.K. Simmons, everybody that seemed to ever be on The Walking Dead seems to have been on this show at some point. But if you can handle a lot of gore and language and stuff, Walton Goggins, though, as Cecil in that show, the guy that kind of is the Nick Fury when they make fun of his haircut constantly, I love him. But it's like, this show is amazing. I love this show, the storylines and everything that they've come up with. And my favorite thing about the show is that they attend Reginald Vell Johnson High School.
Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, it's Reginald Vell Johnson.
That didn't hit me when I first started watching it, and when it hit me, I was like, "Wait, what?" Oh, so that
I know.
That
yeah, I'm thinking about that exact spot when it probably finally sunk in.
Yeah, but
Principal Winslow.
That show, I started a couple episodes in, which was great because then I could marathon. It's a week-to-week show, so I could marathon it, and it will get you right away. It is violent for an animated show. I was not prepared, even though I should have been, but it is well written, well animated, and it avoids a lot of cliches or it makes fun of cliches. So it does a lot of great stuff with that. So if you're looking for something different, definitely check out.
It does make fun of cliches. I had another friend that said that. I feel like it is another superhero. Like, obviously it does poke fun at some cliches, but I don't think it's trying to be a parody of superhero culture like The Boys was.
No. It's nowhere. Yeah, you're right. It's nowhere near that level. I think here and there, yeah, definitely not in the way of The Boys, but I do think it kind of does a little humor.
Yeah, that's fair.
But Invincible, I remember when I got the first comic book on Free Comic Book Day, and I was like, I don't know if I want to read that, and then I accidentally handed it in for a trade-in. Gosh, I wish I would have kept it and read it, but oh well. Hindsight.
With the turns that this series takes, though, I'm glad I'm coming in completely blind. Like, the way the first episode ends,
right.
Man, like that's all we're gonna say. But stay tuned to United We Fan, because an Invincible episode will be coming in the next couple of weeks or months.
Oh yeah, as soon as season 1's over, we'll give you like a week or two so that we don't spoil it for everyone, and then we'll be invincible. But anyways, HBO had a big film. Two giants went at it, Godzilla vs. King Kong. And I think it's definitely a movie that if you can see it on the big screen, it's Godzilla and King Kong. Like, come on. That's a huge movie. But if not, you can watch it on HBO Max. If you have it, great. If your friend has it, borrow their account. What? So, but Godzilla vs. King Kong. Brian, you were Team King Kong, right?
Yes.
All right, we were on Team King Kong together there, and I think they did the smart thing. Had very shallow character storylines, which, most people would be like, oh, the characters, they weren't needed. Oh, man, why wasn't their storyline better? But I think everyone I've talked to has said, man, those storylines were stupid for the humans, but that's okay because we got to see a whole lot of Godzilla and King Kong.
They didn't hide the monsters behind smoke and darkness the whole time. Like, they actually spent money on the shots. Like, the movie was about what I expected it to be. Like, it wasn't the greatest thing ever, and I wasn't expecting Hamlet or Romeo and Juliet or anything like that, but we got pretty much what I was expecting. I mean, I feel a little bit lied to, but I mean, I expected to be lied to with all the marketing. So, but no, it was fun. Like, is it the greatest thing I've ever seen in my entire life? No, but it was fun, and that's what it was meant to be.
Yeah, and I did a little King Kong Godzilla marathon leading up, like the month leading up to it. I watched the original black and white King Kong. I watched the Peter Jackson King Kong, which I absolutely love that movie, and I hope more people give it a chance. I watched Kong Skull Island, which I really enjoy it. Really enjoy it. And then
it's the best one of every single one of those films, in my opinion. And I will fight it against Peter Jackson's.
Kong Skull Island is better than the other two Godzilla movies. It is better than the 80s King Kong movies. Is Kong Skull Island the best King Kong movie? No, it's number 3 for me. Peter Jackson, and then the original black and white, and then Kong Skull Island is how my rankings will go. But, maybe we'll do a King Kong episode. That'll be fun. But Godzilla vs. King Kong, full of action. The director said you're definitely going to know who the winner is. We're not going to do the cheap Freddy versus Jason out. But you kind of know who would have won because the winner kind of wins twice. So you kind of get an answer, but you don't get a definitive answer. But anyways, Mechagodzilla. Yeah, Mechagodzilla was kind of skinny, and it was, it was epic. But although, God, where do all these people hide all these huge facilities? Anybody else wonder that? Good Lord. So I felt like Grandpa there with that question. Where are you getting all this money from and hiding these animals this big? But anyways, Godzilla vs. King Kong, highly recommend it. Great action flick. It's not on the Michael Bay level. There is storyline to it, and it's not just mindless explosions. Speaking of huge, and we mentioned Peter Jackson. Lord of the Rings, the Amazon series is still, it's coming. One ring to rule them all, it's coming. And we just got the budget for it. Before Brian gives us the number for the Lord of the Rings Season 1, I'm just going to give you the number of Game of Thrones. It averaged about 100 million per season for Lord of the Rings, and we saw how epic that was. Brian, tell our listeners the budget for Season 1 of Amazon's Lord of the Rings.
Well, let's even compare it to the budget of The Mandalorian. The Mandalorian budget's $215. So it's double what Game of Thrones was. And in my opinion, a lot of that money for The Mandalorian shows up on screen. Same thing for Falcon and Winter Soldier. That budget has shown up on screen, and it was around 200 million as well. But Season 1 of the Lord of the Rings Amazon show, and I guess we're now learning why Amazon landed this streaming contract over everybody else that was going for it. The budget is $465 million US for 10 episodes, 12 episodes. Like, if it's like a 24 episode run, like, cool, but it's not going to be. It's going to be 8 to 12.
I don't think they can afford that.
$465 million. And Jeff Bezos, pulled that out of his couch to fund it probably, but still, 465 is more expensive. Avengers Endgame costed 330. I mean, it's insane.
That was all Robert Downey Jr.'s paycheck too.
Yeah, right. It's insane. But I as a huge fan of the Lord of the Rings trilogy, not so much The Hobbit, but the Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings trilogy is it's at least third, probably second in the greatest film trilogies ever. And I
think I know. Wait, let me guess. Is it third for you?
It's probably second, honestly.
I'm going to say The OG Star Wars trilogy.
Correct.
Number 1. Number 2, you said, was Lord of the Rings.
Correct.
And then 3 is Back to the Future.
No.
Wow.
Indiana Jones beats Back to the Future.
Indiana Jones is not a trilogy, Brian.
Well, the original Indiana Jones trilogy. Because if we're gonna say Indiana Jones is in a trilogy, then we're gonna also say Star Wars is in a trilogy. I know there's differences, but I'm counting Indiana Jones as a trilogy.
Man, we're gonna have to table this for coming in June, our Indiana Jones episode. You can only imagine how heated things will get.
Well, see, but then you're gonna say The Hobbit would count, and then Lord of the Rings isn't a trilogy anymore. Like, so the more expansion these trilogies get, then the harder this is.
Just because I think it's different, just because The Hobbit tells a complete and different story than Lord of the Rings. Yes, okay, there's a ring connection, sort of, but Indiana Jones is not its own separate trilogy from the fourth one. And I went with your Star Wars one. You know what? I went with it because I can see the arguments either way for that one. It's the Skywalker saga. So is it really a trilogy? I guess. Why aren't you making that argument? Man, this could be a fun topic.
Anyway, The Lord of the Rings is amazing. I love those movies.
Yeah.
And to see a television series. Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, that's the only way to watch it is the extended cuts. I'm usually not that guy, but with Lord of the Rings, I am that guy. But $465 million, either they've hired a lot of big time people and kept it under wraps, or it's just going to be insanely epic, or both.
Yeah. We definitely need to do a Middle Earth episode for United We fans. Fans out there, let us know if you would like us to tackle The Hobbit first or Lord of the Rings first. We'll probably gonna do Lord of the Rings first, I'm not gonna lie. Unless you really want to see us just nitpick the heck out of The Hobbit, why it should have only been 1, maybe 2 films. So
the length of the book, if nothing else.
And then let's see here. The man, the myth, the legend.
Mark
Steven Spielberg. No. Stop that. Steven Spielberg. We did an episode on him for a reason. He hasn't fully confirmed it, but there is a list of the Spielberg 20, his 20 favorite films. And it got brought up. James Gunn was asked about it, and I'll get to why he was asked about it. So I'm going to list the alleged Steven Spielberg top 20 movies. Now, remember, you can't be mad at him. These are his 20 favorite films of all time, and one, you shouldn't be mad at that man anyways. So, Brian, go ahead and use your fingers.
Are they his 20 favorite films?
Yes, they're his 20 favorite films.
Okay. Like movies he made.
No.
Oh, they're just his 20 favorite movies.
Yeah, like how New Hope is on your list. It'd be like, his 20 favorite movies.
Okay, cool.
So, Brian, and for everyone playing at home, let us know what you get. All right. So, everyone, get your fingers ready. We'll just make it easy. How many you've seen? All right. It's a Wonderful Life. The Godfather, the first one. Fantasia. A Guy Named Joe. Came out in 1943. Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yes.
That's why James Gunn was asked about it.
Well done, Spielberg.
War of the Worlds, the 1950s one. He wasn't that vain and put his own movie there. Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho, not that horrible, almost shot-for-shot remake. Anyways, film snob here. 2001, A Space Odyssey, Stanley Kubrick's. Getting to number 9, Lawrence of Arabia, which, that movie's like 4 hours, but please give it a chance. It even has an intermission. The Untouchable, not Untouchables, not the Sean Connery, Kevin Costner movie. Untouchable came out in 2011. The next half, The Dark Knight, the Christopher Nolan movie. And then next up will be The 400 Blows. It's a French film from the 50s. Next up, Day for Night, another French film from the 70s. Citizen Kane, which a lot of critics say is the best film of all time. Next up, Captains Courageous, Victor Fleming, 1930s. Followed by The Best Years of Our Lives. Followed by The Searchers, John Ford, really good Western. And then the next up really surprised me. Sidney Pollack's Tootsie with Dustin Hoffman. Movie's hilarious. Thank you, Spielberg. And then for all you Star Wars films, Seven Samurai. You probably should check that one out. They did remake it. Magnificent Seven. George Lucas was definitely inspired by this one. And then last, the original Dumbo from Walt Disney. So 20 of them. Brian, how many fingers do you have up?
8.
Wow.
The back half really ruined it for me. I was doing good the first front half, but yeah. I've seen 8 and I've heard of 15. I think there was 4 or 5 that I have never even heard of, but it's not my fault. That's France's fault for not marketing their films better.
There you go. I will admit there was, I think, 2 films on there even I hadn't heard of. So, Brian, there's 20 of them, and then half of that, of course, is 10. What do you think? Over, under for my score?
Over.
I had 11.
12.
Yeah. The back half actually got me as well because the first half I had 8 out of 10. And then, yeah, wait a minute. Sorry, friends. This is like a La La Land. Let me get a recount here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Okay, I'm at 14. My bad. My bad, people. So 14. Yay. Man, I should have watched Sesame Street more. So 14 out of 20. Senor Spielberg, I'll make sure to find the rest of your films. But, you know, it's great that he has Guardians of the Galaxy. I know he was very kind to James Gunn about his praise for that film. And I had no idea he liked The Dark Knight, so that kind of surprised me as well. And Tootsie, good for him. I know he's a big fan of It's a Wonderful Life. I know that Dumbo played a big part in a couple of his movies. So, and then Psycho. I love Psycho. It's not my favorite Alfred Hitchcock, but I love Psycho. And like I said, try to give Lawrence of Arabia a shot. I know some, especially with how people are with Zack Snyder's naming to watch that in stages. You'll probably have to watch Lawrence of Arabia in stages as well. We'll post that on our Instagram just to see how many of you out there, if you were closer to Brian's 8 or my, what did I say, 14? 14? Yeah, there we go. Closing out Mark and Bryan's World News. I recently read a book. Yes, I can read. Yes, I love reading. It was a Stan Lee biography. It was called True Believer, The Rise and Fall of Stan Lee. This book is not opinionated. It is a biography that is extremely fact-checked. The source section at the end of it, God, it's like a book of its own. You see all the sources just to get the facts straight. And you get a fair glimpse of Stan Lee. You know, how much did he actually create of Marvel? How much did he actually create of Spider-Man with Steve Ditko? How much did he create of so many Marvel families like the Fantastic Four with Jack the King Kirby? So you get from the early years of Stan Lee, like as a child, to sadly his passing. And you just, things got hard towards the end there of that book. But check it out, especially if you have any interest in Marvel history or Stan Lee. It is a very fascinating, very detailed read. Brian, maybe something you might check out?
Yeah, no, that one seems pretty interesting, especially his relationship with Steve Ditko. Yeah, no, I'll definitely look into that one.
I think the Marvel years for Stan Lee with Kirby and Steve Ditko would make for a great TV show, but there would be so much legal involved in getting that made with portrayals. But anyways, now it comes to the fun portion of Mark and Bryan's hot take of the episode.
Feeling hot.
For all you fans out there who are new to this, Brian and I don't always see eye to eye on the rest of the world, and we get a hot take from it. And Brian, I will give you first dibs up. What is your hot take for this episode?
So my hot take, I'm going to stay within the world of Disney parks, which we've stayed with in the last several hot takes, especially on United We Fan Plus, coming again Sunday night, April 25th at 8 p.m. But anyway, or no, 7:30. I'm sorry, 7:30 p.m. Eastern time. We should know when our own show goes on, so we're there. But no, I'm going to stay within the world of Disney theme parks, and I will say that my hot take is that the original Star Tours with Rex the pilot is better than the Adventures Continue.
I don't even know if I disagree with that.
It's fun. Like my frustration is the Adventures Continue is better when I get what I want, and that is basically Hoth in the middle and being chased down through the Death Star and Boba Fett coming after you in the end scene. But if there's too many other parts where I've gone pod racing and I've gone to Kashyyyk and places like that far too many times for me to continue to enjoy it. I wish I could do the DJ Rex version again, or excuse me, the Captain Rex version again. Though DJ Rex makes a good DJ in the canteen.
Yeah, he does. I'm sorry. The Rise of Skywalker segments are boring. Like
there was only the Exegol one, yeah.
You're on the ocean planet.
Oh, that's right. There are the two.
They're on the ocean planet, and then you're in the Emperor planet with the Death Stars, and you don't really do anything. Like, it's very anticlimactic.
Star Destroyers, not Death Stars.
Oh, that too. You know.
Yeah, whatever.
The Enterprises all look alike.
Oh man.
Just kidding. Just kidding, fans. Star Trek fans, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to upset you there. Didn't mean to offend you. I'm so sorry. You know what? I feel like some people might get upset about that, but I'm good with it. I'm good with it.
George Lucas might be upset, but again, if you want to see the original Star Tours, it's on YouTube and it's wonderful.
So I did an episode of This Diz Bunch on the This Diz Life podcast channel, and man, they did it. They do either ors, and it came to Chewbacca or the Predator. Brian, did you make it that far yet in the episode?
Yeah. Yep. I've seen that. I've seen that clip, and the clear answer is Chewbacca.
And I could not believe myself. I'm hot take it myself. I said the Predator. And I am mad at that guy. You know what? That was Fake Mark. For all of you weirdos out there, you're familiar. Fake Mark has been popping up here and there. He picked the Predator. And granted, I really enjoy reading the Marvel Predator stuff, but I must have been in the moment. I picked the Predator over Chewbacca.
Yeah, in the show we only got one word answer of Predator. I was going to ask your basis on that, but it sounds like you don't even agree.
Fake Mark, shame on you. Hot take right there. How dare you pick the Predator pick Predator over Chewie. I think the last trilogy did Chewie kind of dirty, but the Predator, I think the last movie, kind of how they left it, kind of did the Predator dirty. But anyways, yeah, there's my hot take. I'm mad at Fake Mark for picking Predator over Chewie.
Feeling hot.
Into the Spider-Verse, Spider-Man. 2019 Best Animated Picture winner, and rightfully so. If it would have lost, I would have been extremely fired up. The only thing that would have been comparable is when The Adventures of Tintin, the Steven Spielberg movie, wasn't even nominated, which was a travesty, and the Academy needs to sort out their priorities. So I'm glad they did by giving the Best Picture to Animated Picture to Spider-Verse. Would I have liked to have seen it crack the top 10 for Best Pictures? Yeah, I think it could have arguably, with how well it was received, reviewed, and everything. I think it should have been talked about, but I'm glad it won Best Animated Film. It was unique. It wasn't like anything else we had gotten all year, so I'm glad. IMDb, they have it at an 8.4 on there, and, Brian and I love our points on there. So 8.4, Brian, are you over or under?
This is my favorite animated film of all time. It is a 9.9 for me.
You've mentioned that before, and
for those wondering, by the way, I think, is Beauty and the Beast the only animated film to ever be nominated for Best Picture? Is that the only one?
No, it was
more.
It was the only one when they had it at 5, and then they expanded it and made it up there. No pun intended. Yeah, and I think some other ones like I don't want to belittle anyone's work, but it's not as hard as when Beauty and the Beast won it, I guess is the best way to put it. This movie made it into my top 10 from that decade of films. And I'd have to think about it still. It could very well be my favorite animated movie of all time. For the longest time, my quick answer was Beauty and the Beast, but Into the Spider-Verse, man, I think you're right there. So yeah, I go over 8.4. I definitely think it should be closer to 9, if not at least 9. So 8.4 I think is a little underrated. You could argue it is the best Spider-Man movie of all time. For it to be one of the lowest, or I think it's the lowest grossing theatrical Spider-Man movie of all time, is slightly heartbreaking. But it is on IMDb's not only top 100, not only top 75, it is number 68. So IMDb's movies, we've mentioned them before, it's number 68. Brian, speaking of Spider-Man movies, I brought it up. How was the lowest moneymaker? So sad. What is your Mount Rushmore of Spider-Man theatrical films?
Spider-Man 2 with Sam Raimi. Spider-Man 2. No, I think I like I keep going back and forth, and you can go back to United We Fan episode 2 about Steven Spielberg and talking about the adventures of Tintin that Mark was just talking about. But you can go back to the previous one, our very first episode of United We Fan, where we discussed Sam Raimi's Spider-Man trilogy. I keep going back and forth, so I'm going to go with Spider-Man 1 from Sam Raimi, Spider-Man Homecoming with Tom Holland, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
Yeah.
And I think my fourth one, sorry, Andrew Garfield, I'm going with Spider-Man Far From Home. Spider-Man 2 is lingering around, but it's probably number 5. I would rather watch Far From Home than Spider-Man 2.
Into the Spider-Verse, definitely on mine. Spider-Man Homecoming, definitely on mine. The first Spider-Man with Tobey is on there. And then
Spider-Man 3, do it.
Amazing Spider-Man 2. No, I'm just kidding. I'm going to go Spider-Man 2. So I'm going to go the first two, Tobey's, Homecoming as well, and Into the Spider-Verse. The Amazing Spider-Man, I think, is a lot of fun, but the more I watch it, just Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man loses me more and more. Don't get me wrong. If you put any of the live-action Spider-Man movies on, I'll watch them. And then Far From Home has actually, I remember when I first saw it in theaters, it was so good. I loved it so much. I love Mysterio so much. But the film overall has gone down for me. Just the lack of Spider-Man in it, and just the romance between Mary Jane and Peter. I don't want this to be a hot take.
It's not Mary Jane. It's Michelle. It's MJ, but it's not Mary Jane.
But her name's Mary Jane.
No, it's not. Zendaya's character?
Yeah.
She does go by MJ, but her name is Michelle. It's not Mary Jane.
What? Hang on. I'm fact checking you.
Okay.
Here we go. IMDb.
She does go by MJ, but her name is Michelle.
Michelle.
In Homecoming. Promise.
Is that what she says at the end there?
She says, "My friends call me MJ," but throughout the whole movie, they just call her Michelle.
Oh, that's so weird. On IMDb for Homecoming, it's Michelle. On IMDb for Far From Home, it's MJ.
Yeah, they reveal the MJ nickname at the very end of Homecoming, but she's Michelle.
Wow, that changes everything. So since she's not Mary Jane, I have no problem with her. That was always my thing is I wish they would have made her own character, which they did. Her name's Michelle. So I'm okay with it because she was not the Mary Jane that we know from the comics. And
she's not Mary Jane Watson for sure.
Don't at me with her appearance or anything like that. That's not what I'm saying at all. I'm just saying her character style wasn't the same. And before you come at me anymore, I'm a Gwen Stacy guy.
Hey guys.
So I love Gwen Stacy. Brian, thank you for that mind-blowing breaking news, at least in my world, that she's not Mary Jane. She's Michelle, MJ. So whatever the J stands for. Far From Home, you know what? I think I may rewatch it now just to see if that little nugget changes things for me. But I love Mysterio in that movie.
You said
So-
something interesting though about Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man annoying you. Like Andrew Garfield for me is a really good Spider-Man, and Tobey Maguire is a really good Peter Parker. And for me, Tom Holland's kind of the best mixture of the two. But Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man specifically actually really works for me. He's just a terrible Peter Parker.
See, here's how I went with it. Tom Holland is the perfect like high school Spider-Man Peter Parker. And then Tobey Maguire is the perfect adult Peter
Even though
Parker
he's in high
Spider-Man.
school in the first one.
I know. God, don't even get me started on that. And then he's the perfect like college Spider-Man. Andrew Garfield is the perfect college Peter Parker. Oh man, we've gone into this. I did not like his style when he was Spider-Man. I mean, he let a taxi cab and an armored vehicle crash and possibly take out several people.
Yeah, that's an issue.
I won't blast him. I don't like how people blasted him. Like, I've recently watched The Amazing Spider-Man 2, and I had a lot of fun with it. So his Spider-Man at time, I'm just like, what were you going for there? I don't know. This is like another heated debate. Which Spider-Man wore it better?
Tom Holland. So, I mean, I don't know if it's much of a debate.
I think Tom Holland, the person, is what gives him the leg up. It's just he has a better connection with the character of Peter Parker and Spider-Man. We're definitely getting way off track, but whatever.
Yeah, I was going to say, Jake Johnson as Peter B. Parker was also wonderful.
All right, people, let's do this one last time. My name is Peter B. Parker. I was bitten by a radioactive spider, and for the last 22 years, I thought I was the one and only Spider-Man.
Love him. I just love him in New Girl.
Gave me cookie, got you cookie. You gave me cookie, I got you cookie, man.
Jurassic World. Anything. Just put him in more stuff. I'm all for it. Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. I remember I watched it in the Dolby Theater at AMC, and I was like, all right, I didn't have high expectations. You know, I thought the movie was going to be really good, but I hadn't read any Miles Morales. After I watched the movie, you better believe I read some graphic novels of Miles Morales, and I'm glad I did. I appreciate him a lot more. I love the look of his suit, the artwork. Marvel 616 even touched on it. I think that was great. The Columbia Sony Pictures thing in the beginning there, switching over as the verse is twitching, and then you have the comics code just slam onto the screen with that sound system. It was amazing. And then I love how they started it. All right, let's do this one more time, because they know we've seen so many origin stories. And then you get to see like Spider-Man, which I don't know how people haven't made a bigger deal of Chris Pine as Spider-Man.
Chris Pine, they didn't really market it either. So like when voice comes on the screen, I'm like, that's Chris Pine. Like that's definitely Chris Pine. But they based it on the Sam Raimi, Tobey Maguire Spider-Man. I love the part where he does the dance and he rolls his arms, but we don't really talk about that. Like that all worked really well for me. But I mean, just throwing us back into that world was a lot of fun. Chris Pine was a good addition.
I think he was brilliant for especially that character being on screen just a short time. What ended up happening to him was, I think because it was Chris Pine, it hit me a lot harder. So starting that film the way it did was great. And then you had the music, Sunflower, for Miles' introduction.
Needless to say, I keep watching. She was on back, nevertheless. Calling it quits now, baby, I'm a wreck. Please bring me a wreck.
And of course, Sony couldn't help themselves by giving him Sony earphones. I love that. Like
Sony's cell phone. Yeah, Sony's cell phones. There's nobody in the world that has as many Sony cell phones as the people in this movie.
Ooh, taking a shot. But no, you're right. You're right. It's true. To be honest, I don't know the last time I've seen a Sony cell phone. So, but just from start to finish, that movie told you it was going to be different. The animation style was different. It was beautiful. I love how they did it. They didn't they even patent it because it was so unique what they did.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And then if you haven't bought the movie, buy the movie. Look at the making of. There's even the Art of Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse book It is a beautiful book, although I love all the art of making of books, like for the MCU especially. I thought it was very creative why they brought them all together. It wasn't just a random thing in the universe. It was the Kingpin of all characters trying to bring back his family. And I really dug that being the reason we got the Spider-Verse.
They didn't overuse the animation either. For me, it took a couple minutes getting used to it the first time that I watched it, because even seeing like sounds and lines coming off of like Miles when he taps the pen on his throat and like all that,
Yeah.
but they didn't overuse like comic book panels. They used them perfectly. Even like thwip and all the words that they would put on the screen, like it all just worked so well. But I'm with you. Like the Kingpin, the first time I saw him, I was like, he's very large. Where's his neck? But like him being the main villain, but portraying a storyline that we'd never really seen before and bringing his family back into it. And then when it mirrors itself, when she left him because he was beating up Spider-Man, and then when she's being pulled through the multiverse and he's doing it over again, like you kind of feel bad for the guy, and then you don't really feel bad for the guy. But they introduced Catherine Hahn in this movie, so Agatha Harkness herself plays Olivia Octavius. That's a great inclusion. I love that. Kind of turn it on its head a little bit. Just the villains in this movie. The only one that I don't love is Green Goblin, but the storyline they build, and even Nicolas Cage says it when Spider Noir, he goes, "That's a heck of an origin story," when Miles is telling everybody that Aaron Davis is the Prowler. Like that was such a great villain.
I'll never forget one of the screenings. I saw this movie multiple times when Kingpin gets like out of his car at his science lab. Somebody just like, I think it was a kid, goes, "How does Kingpin fit in that car?"
Every time they pull up to Alchemex in that one part where Miles is like keeping watch or whatever, he gets out of that Escalade, and it's like, how did he do that?
Yeah, like it was definitely a different take on him, and I know some people had thoughts on it, but I was fine with it. You know, he definitely looked like something maybe out of the Addams Family. But I was cool with it. And then you have Liev Schreiber play him. You all probably know him as Sabretooth from I can't say it with a straight face, Wolverine's Origins, which I did rewatch recently. I was in an X-Men mood and I rewatched it.
The amount of movies you rewatch just for the sake of rewatching them is admirable.
Well, I did even Green Lantern, but I blame Ryan Reynolds. That man got me to
when
watch.
He live tweeted it, that was amazing.
But I bought the movie. I bought the extended cut. I'm not ashamed of it. But I did. So I watched that because I hadn't watched it in forever. I was like, maybe it aged well. It starts off strong. It starts off really strong. But, oh man, some of the action scenes just reminded me of definitely early 2000s. And then I was talking to Frankie, who's a great listener of the show, and I remember how Fox wanted to do origin movies. They were supposed to do like a Storm origin movie and a Magneto origin movie, and we didn't get any of that. I doubled it up. So I watched Wolverine Origins, and then I watched X2 because I hadn't watched that in forever. And that
movie's amazing.
So I like it a lot, but the pacing of that movie brings down its potential so much. But then after talking about different perspectives of the Iceman scene when he's talking to his family and what else that scene could symbolize, I definitely appreciate X2 a lot more. But I'm getting sidetracked. But anyways, yeah, that was my X-Men double feature. We should just title this episode Brian and Mark get sidetracked. We also talk about Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse in the other notes section of this episode. But yeah, Liev Schreiber, I love him as Punisher. Check him out in a movie called RKO 281. But anyways, you mentioned Jake Johnson as Peter B. Parker. I love Shamik Moore as Miles. This film is perfectly voice cast. To the voice cast, casting director, bravo to you. Mahershala Ali as Uncle Aaron. I can't wait for his Blade. Oh, it's gonna be so good. He was so good.
Check him out on Invincible. He plays Titan.
That's true. He does. And then, like I said, Luke Cage as well. He definitely knows his heroes. And then Zoe Kravitz. I didn't realize that. Zoe Kravitz, from Fantastic Beasts. She plays Mary Jane. Not Michelle Jane, Mary Jane. But Nick Cage, I'll never get over when he's talking about his role. And if you purchase the film, watch special features, you just see him having so much fun with the role. The directors were like, "Hey, we just need a little bit more." And he's like, "Well, what do you mean a little bit more? Like, what do you?" This is me doing my horrible Nick Cage impression. Like, what do you mean more? Like, what? And the director goes, "We need you to go full on. Like, we need more." And he's like, "You want me to go full on Cage, don't you?" Yes. And he did the take, and it was.
It's 1933, and I'm a private eye. I like to drink egg creams, and I like to fight Nazis. A lot. Sometimes I let matches burn down to my fingertips just to feel something, anything.
By the way, Zendaya's character in Spider-Man Homecoming is Michelle Jones. That's why she's named MJ.
Michelle Jones. Right here, everyone. This is why, Brian, you need to tune into him. He is the ultimate nerd weirdo.
Oh, if I was the ultimate, I would have corrected you 7 minutes ago. Google just helped me.
Brian, don't tell people your secrets. He's not just a glowing face. He is really smart. So tune into Weirdos and try to stump him. It's always fun. John Mulaney. Can I just say I never watched any of his stand-up, but because of his Spider-Ham, thank you, Netflix, for having it. I went back and watched it, and if John Mulaney ever came to the Orlando area, I would go to his stand-up.
He's for me the best comedian going right now. He's innovative. He's hilarious. I love him. I know he's going through some stuff right now, so
yeah.
Best of luck to John Mulaney. But he was the perfect voice for Spider-Ham.
This could literally not get any weirder.
It can get weirder. I just washed my hands. That's why they're wet. No other reason.
There is a short film as well. If you can catch it, it's wonderful. It's just full on Looney Tunes, and it really calls back to the line that he gets in Spider-Verse where I want you to have my hammer. It fits inside your pocket. He leaves. He says, "That's all, folks." And Jake Johnson goes, "Can he say that? Like legally?" It's so funny.
I just love how Jake Johnson delivers these lines. Like, you just see the comedic pause of, "Can you say that?" "No, legally." like it was a great beat. But yeah, his Spider-Ham is brilliant. You can still hear that John Mulaney voice, but he does tweak it. It's great.
Do animals talk in this dimension? Because I don't want to freak them out.
You brought up Catherine Hahn. God, that woman, just give her whatever role you need. I loved her Doc Ock. Like, you just see
Doc
her
Ock all along.
The song you never knew you wanted. But you see her turn it over from the scientist and then switch it over to evil villain. You're like, what? And then, of course, I love Jake Johnson, like, "I got this, buddy. Don't worry about it." And then her just taunting him, "Oh, you have it, do you, Peter?" Oh, God. It was just so haunting villain.
When she's chasing them through the forest, that's when we get my favorite line from Jake Johnson in this movie, when Gwen Stacy shows up.
Oh, you know her. Very cool.
I love that part so much.
I also love that they changed her tentacles too. That the like plastic tubing. I thought that was a fun change. But then we all saw in the Gwen Stacy universe, it was the metal, like old, like little details. You saw a different octopus, and then even I love how they brought up from the comics for Gwen Stacy, Peter was lizard. That was a fun touch, and you notice it if you look for it. Like, his skin is kind of like sparkling. You're like, "What's that?" "Oh yeah, he's the lizard." Gwen Stacy is played by another one of my celebrity crushes, Haley Steinfeld, who if you didn't see her in True Grit is what I was thinking of, but I feel like a lot of people are going to be like, "Oh my God, Pitch Perfect 2." But I was going to go True Grit. But yeah, Kate Bishop. When do we get the Hawkeye show?
Or Bumblebee. That's probably what most people may know her from is Bumblebee. She's also Jimmy Fallon's female doppelganger. But Hawkeye comes out later in
right
2021, but she is the MCU's new Hawkeye in Kate Bishop.
You brought up Bumblebee. Bumblebee is my second favorite Transformer movie.
Really?
Like
It's your
easily.
first.
The first one.
Okay. I can't. I guess I can't really disagree. It's probably right, actually. It's kind of depressing.
Well, for me, it would probably go the first movie, Bumblebee,
In the
Transformers.
latest edition of Mark and Bryan gets sidetracked.
Whatever. Who cares? Transformers 3. The second one hurt my head. That was too much Michael Bay. Maybe the first one with Mark Wahlberg.
Is that the one where Titus Welliver says "My face is my warrant"? Is that the Mark Wahlberg one, the first one?
Somebody got paid for that line, and they asked this poor actor to deliver it. Yes, that
Yeah, but
one.
then he got to be in The Mandalorian, so his career's going okay.
There you go. Yeah, God.
My face is my warrant.
Seinfeld is Gwen Stacy, another perfect casting. I love the look of her. I love that they gave her the ballerina slippers. They didn't take that away from her. Miles, I relate, man, to you seeing that pretty girl trying to flirt. Now, granted, I never had webbing fingers and ruined her haircut. Never did that. But, Miles, going through those changes and thinking it's puberty. I love how Gwen's like, that's not how puberty works.
Oh man, just the whole. So a little inside life into the life at the Lee family household. My wife has a car and it's named Gwanda. Straight from this film. We're getting the vanity plate later on. So no, that my wife or the car?
Your wife.
Okay, fair enough. But yeah, so Gwen Stacy's amazing. If you're listening to us, Marvel merchandising, we need more Gwen Stacy merchandise.
Yeah.
I've got a little girl named after Spider-Man, but she's a little girl. I need Ghost Spider stuff. I need Spider-Gwen stuff. Thank you for listening.
So many great cosplayers out there as Spidey-Gwen. I wish I could think of some off the top of my head, but just great ones out there. And then I think one of my favorite throwaway lines from Shamik Moore, Miles Morales, is when he's going through the changes and he's like, they're laughing at me, they're looking at me. Dang, that girl's really tall.
She's tall. Yeah. Why are my thoughts so loud? And then he gets distracted by how tall that person is.
I love when he tries to do the
tomorrow, find that girl. We walk up to her and be like, hey.
You serious, Uncle Aaron?
I'm telling you, man, it's science.
So walk up to her and be like, hey.
No. Like, hey.
Hey.
No. Hey.
Hey.
You sure you my nephew, man?
And we've all been there where we try to be smooth and it just does not come out. And he goes, hey. And you just see Gwen like, hi.
Okay. I'm going to go.
Okay. I'm going to go.
Okay, so in this week's trivia edition, Miles goes to visit when Uncle Aaron's telling him about the shoulder touch. Do you know what is playing on Aaron's television in the background?
I know this, and the only reason I know this is thanks to my co-host, the Glowing Brian Community.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it is season 4 premiere of Community when Troy wakes up and he's living in Pierce's mansion and he's got Spider-Man pajamas on and he stands up and stretches his arms out. That is what's on Aaron's television in the background. And getting Donald Glover in Spider-Verse just that way was amazing. Even though we get Donald Glover in Homecoming as Aaron Davis.
I loved little things like that. And I know we're going to get into, because there will be a second one, we're going to get into what we hope we see in that later. But I definitely love the little nods that they had in there. Donald Glover in Homecoming, I really do hope we get, and I know I led that as I was disappointed or something, but I wasn't. I do hope we get more of him in the third one. He obviously did not have anywhere story-wise to fit into the second one, but I'm definitely hoping. Oh, yeah, true.
He's very busy.
Yeah, ATL, hilarious show. If you get a chance, check it out. Atlanta, sorry.
I was gonna say, isn't it just called Atlanta?
My bad, Atlanta.
Not to
Sorry, it's coming
correct you on
from
your pronunciation of something, but
my bad, Atlanta. Check it out, hilarious show. But I do hope he comes back for the third season. I feel like there's more fun to that character. Plus, I want to know if he was able to get home before his ice cream melted.
I was gonna say, I got ice cream in here. You need to get better at this part of the job. But he references his nephew, which means Miles Morales exists in the MCU.
Brian, have you played the Miles Morales game?
No, I have not. I've played just the one level of him in the original Spider-Man PlayStation 4 game, but I have not played Miles Morales.
I know we have some friends of the show that love the game. I want to play the Spider-Man game. I want to play the Miles Morales version. I want to see Spidey Cat from the Miles Morales. Oh, Brian, sidetrack note. There was a shirt. It had Miles Morales on the front, and then on the back it had like Spidey Cat in like a baby carrier. As a fan of cats and Spider-Man, I would have loved that. But I've heard great things about the game. I was going to pick your brain about it, but that's okay. I've heard great things. But Brian, what do you think of Miles's costume for this show, where he's spray painted over Peter Parker's, made it his own, and you have the spray painted Spider-Man on it? I have a workout shirt from it from iamsuperhero.com that I love. I get so many compliments on it, but I really dig the spray paint Spider-Man or Spidey on it.
Yeah, heck, oh, dude, it's amazing. Like just the intricate details within this movie of when he first goes into into Peter Parker's cave with Aunt May.
The Peter lair.
Yeah, you see, Jake Johnson talking constantly about how it's pretentious and what it feels bad for the guy. But if you pay attention to the details, Miles's spider sense is just a half a second slower than everybody else's. He stands up to the suit and his eyes don't match up with the eyes. So then when he goes back and he feels that he can be Spider-Man, like the suit looks like it fits now. I'm completely good. Like he needs like a legit suit, but it doesn't exist at that point. So the spray painted logo is incredible. His suit's awesome. I just love Miles Morales all around. He's such a great character.
And you got the PlayStation game Spidey suit in the cave there. You even have the spider suit with a cape. But Brian, let's do either or. Which suit did Miles wear better? The fan costume that he bought from Stan Lee's shop with the yellow cape. That Funko, by the way, is amazing. Or you have it?
I have every single Spider-Verse Funko that exists.
Beautiful. Or the Miles Morales spray painted one. Which one is your personal favorite? Now, which one's better? Which one is your personal favorite?
Oh, I love the kid costume one that Stan Lee won't ever let him return because it'll always fit eventually. I think the yellow cape is funny, and then he goes to the funeral.
We are all Spider-Man, and we're all counting on you.
They're counting on me. Probably not you specifically. I think it's a metaphor.
But I love the yellow cape and the big eyes. Like I love that costume so much.
And did you see the Jake Johnson poster in the comic shop?
I didn't actually. I didn't know that was there.
Yeah. He's wearing a sombrero. Yeah, I mean that movie obviously has so many posters, but it's hilarious. Look for it in the shop. The
poster I'm most familiar with is Seth Rogen's "Hold Your Horses," the fictional movie that they created and marketed in Times Square.
Yes, definitely.
I want that movie.
If you purchase the film, there is an alternate version of it to where, animated movies, live action movies, they all have deleted scenes, alternate takes and all that. And the great thing about it is the filmmakers said, hey, we're going to release this like alternate version cut. And it inserts unfinished animatics of scenes that they were like, nah, it didn't work. And storylines, like, for example, Miles's roommate, he actually had a much bigger part in the original story, but it was very reminiscent of Ned from Tom Holland's Spider-Man. I'm good with that being trimmed. You and I talked about it, like all the trims that were made, we agree with. The film is perfect, but if you just maybe want a alternate extended cut, now we're not talking Zack Snyder here, but if you want an alternate cut, definitely check it out. It's worth checking out, especially for the artwork alone.
Yeah, Phil Lord and Christopher Miller are just crazy enough people that they were able to make this movie. For me, the alternate universe edition, not quite for me. The music was a little stronger in that one sometimes, and there's a lot of tonal changes in that one that don't work as well for me. For example, you're getting sentimental during the memorial service when MJ's talking to the crowd. And then in the alternate universe edition, the next speaker is Kingpin. And so you're not processing the emotion of how sad this is for the group as a whole, especially for MJ, before you're then just thrown into just being overly mad at Kingpin for being who he is. And we get a glimpse of that later on when he does the charity dinner. I feel like we didn't need it twice. So stuff like that, there's some tonal changes within the alternate universe edition that didn't work as well for me. It wasn't just the unfinished animation. It was just storyline wise, where I think I can see why they cut out everything that they did to make the theatrical cut. And I think it was perfectly edited, where the theatrical cut for me is about as perfect as an animated film can get.
Like I said, check it out. It's a great alternate take for it. If you've watched this movie a lot and you're like, man, I need more, it'll give you more. Definitely will.
Yeah, you definitely get more. It's almost 2.5 hours long.
So this movie also has a great album. And for that whole year, I was listening to Black Panther or Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. The albums are great. I have so many of the songs on my exercise playlist. What's Up Danger, Sunflower. God, that song was huge. I loved that one. Scared of the Dark is good. Elevate is so good. But anyways, check out this album. This is one of those albums where, like I said, it's not better than the movie. Like, it's not that case at all, but this is a great album to have. Every song is worth listening to, and it's just a great collection of songs.
Sunflower was a little bit too everywhere for me. Like, it did get overplayed. Because it's just not like my favorite song. I'm similar to Miles, where I only know every other word, yeah, I'm a wreck.
There you go.
But I mean, it's a great album, but for me, the best album to come out of this film is A Very Spidey Christmas, because that album does exist, and you get the Christmas album, and it's great.
Joy to the world, I keep saving. Maybe I could get paid. I saved you all again, this time from the kingpin. And literally I don't get paid. Kinda weird that I don't get paid. I make my own web fluid and it's not free, okay?
I am so glad that you let me know that that playlist is out there. It is on Spotify. I did check it out last holiday season, and it is glorious. It's only what, four songs, I think.
Yeah, I think it's like 5 when you count Green Goblin reading the Night Before Christmas, like Spider-Man edition. But it's great. But Miles even drops like a GoFundMe at the end to fund his web fluid. Like, web fluid ain't cheap and all this kind of stuff. But in reality, if you went to the GoFundMe, it was at the time donating to like Puerto Rican hurricane relief or something like that. Like, it was amazing. Like, just all around. That album was really cool. But it was a real GoFundMe page for a while.
www.gofundme.com/Spidey Web Fluid Fund. Help me get to 1,000. Thank you.
I didn't know that at all. That's such a great little fun fact there. And then, of course, me being the movie score person, Daniel Pemberton, he did the score for it. If you listen to Score the Podcast, he talks about it. It's great stuff. He did King Arthur, Legend of the Sword, which, God, I feel like that's just me shouting it out because I like that movie. He did the music for Steve Jobs, if you've seen that. He did this year's Best Picture nominee, The Trial of the Chicago 7, the score for that. So check him out. That score it's very different. And that's what I think Spider-Man has, one of the best music universes out of all the heroes, definitely up there, with all the different composers. But I like that his music, it's not recycled. It doesn't sound like Danny Elfman. It doesn't sound like James Horner or Hans Zimmer. He made Miles Morales different because Miles Morales is different from the other Spider-Mans. So I loved his music for that. It's on Spotify. Check it out.
We glossed over 2 of the Spider-Men I want to go back and talk about. And I guess we did talk about Nicolas Cage, Spider Noir, but just his entire fascination with the Rubik's Cube was amazing. I really enjoyed that, learning his colors. But also Penny Parker from the year 3145 and her robot and stuff. Like, you get a lot more in the alternate universe cut with her character. But the potential of her is really, really cool. But just the way they integrate the black and white and the anime style, another callback. And each of those characters has their own score done by that. And it's just like scoring this movie could not have been easy. And it's just really impressive how he's able to jump from different eras, and you can just hear it because when Miles is on the screen, when the black and white 1930s guy is on the screen, when the pig is on the screen. Like, it's really impressive, the range that he had to do in doing these scores.
I think that was one little thing I thought about. Like, I love Nick Cage's Noir, but I kind of wish, so when you have Spider-Ham, his animation style changes somewhat. I kind of wish with Spider-Man Noir, it would have been like maybe more old school to look more vintage animated. And then Penny Parker, I'm glad you brought her up. I didn't know anything about her. And, I definitely failed with the comic books when it came to this film. I did my homework after this as far as Miles Morales and Penny Parker. And she's a lot of fun. I'm glad you brought her up. Her character is cute and interesting. I'm glad it's different. I did get a little bit of Big Hero 6. I'm like, man, Penny Parker would have so much fun with the Big Hero 6. And who knows, that could happen. It's Marvel. But anyways, I wish her animation style would have gone more anime, like Full Metal Alchemist and that whole, like, I think that would have been fun maybe to change the animation style depending on where they were from, just like they did with Spider-Ham. If they didn't establish that in Spider-Ham, but once again, this is all stupid nitpicking. I love the movie. So Nicolas Cage, I'm there to watch him. Ghost Rider, there. Spider-Man Noir, I'm there. Superman and Teen Titans Go, the movie, go to the movies, there. All good stuff. So Nick Cage, I still love you. I'll never let your memory go. I mean, I know a lot of people, random tangent, are getting back into National Treasure, so they're enjoying earlier Nick Cage.
And we do get Pedro Pascal, Moon Knight, Poe Dameron himself, as Miguel O'Hara as Spider-Man 2099 in the post-credit scene. And he goes back to Spider-Man 67 and does the Spider-Man meme of pointing at the other one, and that scene's amazing as well. So I hope Spider-Man 2099 is a main character in Spider-Verse 2.
Brian, Random Rushmore!
The game where everything's made up and the points don't matter.
Just because we talked about Nick Cage, and I want to know. Go! Random Rushmore, Nick Cage movies. Haha.
Gone in 60 Seconds, National Treasure. Gone in 60 Seconds, National Treasure.
I need to go back and watch that.
Nicolas Cage. Hang on.
You got this. Buddy. I guess you could count this movie if you wanted to.
I think I will count. Ooh, Face Off. Yeah, so Nicolas Cage, I'm going to go with Gone in 60 Seconds, National Treasure. Face Off is such a great, horrible movie. I love it.
Don't say Vampire's Kiss. Don't say Vampire's Kiss.
The Rock and Con Air. I will not take the easy way out and put Spider-Verse on there, so I'm going to go with Rock. No, Leaving Las Vegas has to beat Con Air. So Leaving Las Vegas, The Rock, Gone in 60 Seconds, and National Treasure.
I can't believe you've seen Leaving Las Vegas. Are you sure you don't mean Honeymoon in Vegas?
He's in Leaving Las Vegas.
No, I know he is. I thought you're thinking about his Oscar-winning role, right? Not Honeymoon in Vegas, the funnier one.
Yeah, no,
So much appreciation for you.
It also reminds me of that episode of Community where Abed impersonates Nicolas Cage in season 5, because that one's amazing.
Nicolas Cage, good or bad? A challenge, certainly, but not unsolvable. because all actors have distinct values, which I use to find answers.
Abed, how much Nicolas Cage did you...
Enough! I watched enough to find the answers. Because this is my reality. This is how I learned to be. And my being doesn't allow for Nicolas freaking Cage, okay? Oh, yeah! Oh, yeah! Oh! Oh! Oh, I'm a cat. I'm a sexy cat.
I've got to go The Rock. God, I love that movie, The Rock. I'm going to go with a movie called Adaptation. Love that one. Here's where it gets hard. Moonstruck. Going Moonstruck. Number 3. Oh, man. Raising Arizona is so good.
Raising Arizona is great. Forgot about that one.
City of Angels is... Oh, man. God dang it. Family Man.
You're acting like you didn't know this was coming. I'm just going to throw that out there.
I know, this was supposed to be hard for you, not me. What
about Primal? Have you seen Primal, where he's like the world's foremost authority on dangerous animals and just so happens to find himself on a boat that all the dangerous animals get let loose? I believe it's on Netflix currently.
It's horrible. Snakes on a Plane ripoff.
It's on Rotten Tomatoes at like 18%.
Did you say National Treasure? Did that make it into yours?
Yes, it did.
You know, I'm gonna say National Treasure. It almost was The Family Man, but I'm gonna say National Treasure.
Oh, The Family Man is good.
All right, so National Treasure, The Rock, Adaptation, and Moonstruck. That'll be my random Rushmore. So random that it surprised even me.
I even got my Pedro Pascal talk in before it happened.
You did. So proud of you, buddy. All right, well, that was a fun random, but here we go. We're going to move on to what's next for us. Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse 2. I'm kind of hoping they don't stick with that title and they come up with something more fun. But, Brian, we don't get it until 2022, right? We were supposed to originally get it this year? Question mark?
It was originally this year, yes.
October this year, right?
Yeah, now it's October 7th of 2022. They needed more time to make the animation live up to what they'd done because it took them 4 years to make this film. So make it right rather than make it fast.
There you go. Definitely. And with this one, you can't rush it. Like with the high standard that they sent, I'm glad. I'm upset because I have to wait another year. But I'll happily wait for it. And what's another year? We have so many movies piled up, it's gonna fly.
Yeah, I'm very excited for it. I don't know what kind of storyline they're gonna come up with, but we could easily have somebody in Gwen Stacy's dimension build a collider, and that's what's gonna bring them all together. We get at the end of Spider-Verse that Gwen Stacy clearly has control over this portal now where she can reach out to Miles.
Yeah.
I just hope they only introduce new characters and don't remove any other ones because everybody's going to want John Mulaney's Spider-Ham back, Peter Porker. But it's such a good movie. I hope they recreate the magic, but that's going to be really hard to do. This one's going to have a lot more expectations than the last one did.
I think it's going to be definitely longer, bigger. I've been fan casting for Christopher Daniel Barnes from the 90s animated series. I know he's in negotiations. I don't know how you couldn't have him. And then after watching Marvel 616, I need the Japan Spider-Man to be in this movie too. So if both of those happen, I'll be just fine. And of course, Oscar Isaac. We definitely need more of him. And God, that is one of my favorite post-credit scenes.
Miguel O'Hara is such a great Spider-Man 2099 is so good. Like, yeah, they need it. They need it bad. Like, they don't need it, I guess. They made a great film without him, but oh man, I want it.
I think it'll be great. Hopefully we get something soon. I know it's over a year away, so that's kind of early, but good for Sony for releasing fun little like teaser artwork. We'll have to wait and see. That concludes this episode of What Will Brian and Mark Go on a Random Tangent About? And maybe, hopefully, talk about the topic of the show. We thank you, fellow fans, for uniting with us. For those listeners who want to get in touch with the show, please do so. Brian, tell our listeners how they can message the show and stay up to date on everything UWF.
Catch us on YouTube on This Diz Life podcast. Earth's Mightiest Weirdos streams on Monday nights at 8:30 Eastern Time. Find us on Instagram at UnitedWeFan_podcast, or find us on Facebook at United We Fan the podcast.
Right. And if we have any artist listeners out there, we love artists. We love supporting artists. If you are interested in doing any cover artwork for our episodes, we would love to show off your artwork. Not only will we make sure everyone knows who did it, we'll appreciate it greatly. We love artwork, and we're fun people, so we'll help you be creative and feel inspired. Maybe not draw us like one of your French girls, but we'll still help you feel inspired. But yeah. Thank you all again, and listen to us wherever you check out your podcasts and wherever you can watch us on YouTube, Facebook Live. I promise you, we're not just faces for podcasting. Brian's especially. He's got a face for a model. So check us all out wherever you can. But till we unite again, fans, I think Peter B. Parker was just in the wrong verse, and his Spidey restaurant sounds pretty great. So hopefully we get that chain restaurant here.
Spotty Bell, swinging through Midtown. Oh, what fun to sling a web and take the bad guys down.